Okay, so this is for your project. I changed the question, the numbers in it, but it's the same process and it's the same picture, again, with different measurements in it. So this will show you the process for solving these problems. It says in a juice container, a square prism has a base edge of, whoops, this should be 5 inches. Maybe I didn't change the numbers, of 5 inches. When a 10-inch straw is inserted into the container, as shown, so see they put it into the container, has a top but a hole for the straw. Exactly 1 inch remains outside. So this section is 1 inch. Okay. The length of AB in inches is what? So where is AB? It's starting here at the top of the container, going diagonally down to the bottom. Well, that would be the length of our straw minus this 1 inch section. So originally the straw was 10 inches long. If we subtract that inch that's sticking out of the top, it's 9 inches. So the length of AB would be 9 inches. Okay, we're going to continue to build on that. Now it says find the length of BC to the nearest tenth of an inch. Okay, where is BC? It's the line from here to here. Well, how are we going to find that length? Well, let's take a look. Notice in the bottom here, this is a square container. So if I trace here, this should be a right triangle. The length of each side of the square is 5 inches. So I have a 5-inch here and 5 inches here. I'm just going to pull that figure out here so we can see it a little better and it's not kind of laying down. So we have 5 inches by 5 inches. These are the sides of the square. And we have BC right here. I'm going to call that X. That's what we're looking for, is the length of this side. That's our diagonal going across. Well, what are we going to use to find that? Well, there's a couple of ways we could actually do that. One way, however, is to use the Pythagorean Theorem. We know 2 of the 3 sides in that right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean Theorem, which remember is that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs and c is the hypotenuse. Make sure you put the right parts in the right place. So my legs are a and b, the legs are 5 and 5. We have 5 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. Right, next, we notice that our c is this x that we're looking for. Right, now we simplify a little bit, so 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25, equals x squared. 25 plus 25 is 50. Equals x squared, and then we need to just finish out and solve. How do we get rid of a squared? By doing the opposite, which is to take the square root. So we take the square root of both sides, and we have the square root of 50 is 7.07. It wants to the nearest tenth, so that would round to 7.1 inches. So far in our drawing, we now know that this is 7.1 inches, and then on question number 1, we found this was 9 inches. We're going to continue solving. What is the height AC of the container to the nearest tenth of an inch? So now we want to know how tall the container is, AC. Well, let's use the things we found in our previous questions, that the length of the straw is 9 and this segment BC down here is 7.1. If you look at that, notice once again we have a right triangle. The hypotenuse is 9 and the leg is 7.1. If I draw that out, my bottom here is 7.1. This is the side I'm looking for, my height, and I know the hypotenuse this time, it's 9. Again, I can use the Pythagorean Theorem. Set it up carefully. Again, the Pythagorean Theorem says that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs. Now, one of our legs was x. The other leg was 7.1. And the hypotenuse, our c, was 9. So notice this looks a little different than our last one because we were given different parts of the right triangle. So we go 7.1 squared is 50.41. Again, that's 7.1 times 7.1, and 9 squared, 9 times 9 is 81. This time we need to get x by itself, so we're going to have to subtract 50.41 from both sides, which gives us x squared equals 29.59. And once again, to finish out, how we get rid of squares is to do the opposite, which is a square root. So we take the square root of both sides. The square root of 29.59 is 5.4 if we round to the nearest tenth. So the height of this container is 5.4 inches. Here's our final question. Use the result from your previous question to find how much material, which basically would be the surface area, is required to manufacture this container round to the nearest tenth of a square inch. Now, what type of figure do we have here? Well, we have a prism. Okay, so remember, for a prism, the surface area is equal to the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. Hopefully you have that in your notes. Perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. Let's put in our information again. What did we just find the height of our figure was? 5.4. Okay, so the height is 5.4. The base is 5 by 5. Okay, so let's find each of our things we need. We need the perimeter of the base, which again is the distance around the base. Each of the sides is 5, and there's 4 of them. So you can either go 4 times 5 or just add them all together. 5 plus 5 plus 5. And you get 20. So our perimeter of our base is 20. What's the height? Well, we did our work and we found the height was 5.4. And what is the area of the base going to be? Well, the base is a square. Okay, and to find the area of a square, you take the side times the side, or the length times the width. We're basically doing 5 times 5 because that was the length of our sides. And 5 times 5 is 25. We found each of the parts of the formula, so now we can go up here and calculate our surface area. So P, the perimeter of our base, was 20, times H, the height was 5.4, plus 2 times the area of the base, which we found was 25. Do your order of operations, so you do multiplication before addition. So multiply 20 times 5.4, you get 108, plus 2 times 25, so do the 2 times the 25, gives you 50, and now we add those together, and we get a surface area of 158 square inches.